more and more addictions and distractions to escape life. So now, what has always existed, that people have always liked to escape from life, is becoming increasingly dramatic. Today, there are therapies to help people free themselves from cell phone addiction, which is an incredible thing, how people are addicted to everything. Technology is advancing and is addicting in everything. Computer, addictive. Games, addictive. Social networks, addictive. Phone, cell phone, WhatsApp, everything is addictive. And people are becoming increasingly trapped by this. Of course, when they are there, in that passive position only, living for this, they are not evolving, not growing, they are paralyzed. In terms of their inner development. Of course, we are going to use these things because they are good, they are necessary. There is no way not to use them, but well, not let them use us. Well, reverse this relationship, well, use them. Well, be a plaything in the hands of those who built these things, in such a way that it invades our lives and leaves nothing left. It is very important to be aware of this. And this is a tremendous concern. Today, all the time, I see something in the news. The other day, a scientist published how he thinks the human body will be in about 30 years if we continue with the speed of dependency on computers and cell phones. What will our body posture be like? How will the human being, the human body, transform in this time if we do not change our posture? So, we are increasingly seeing this type of problem. How do we respond to not escape life, not fall into any of these traps? By loving our own life and finding fulfillment in it. In other words, enjoying every moment of your day. I leave home, my home. In fact, many thinkers have always said this. When you leave home, look at it, say goodbye, with the desire to return. This helps a lot. It creates a bond so that you will be there again. Noticing the details of your home, being happy for them, happy for having your own space of intimacy, of comfort. When you get in your car and leave, paying attention to your car, this vehicle that helps you so much, that silently supports you in so many things, paying attention to what you see along the way, the flowers that are blooming. When you pass by the lake, it's very windy, the water becomes all rippled, as if it were embroidered by the wind. Then you see that there are a bunch of flowering trees, always different trees, flowers that were planted. You keep looking at things, enjoying life, appreciating, observing the details. Arriving at your workplace and looking at each person's face, wanting to understand how each one is doing, wanting to see how you can help. Thinking about the environment where you work, is there a way to improve it? Is it welcoming? Wouldn't a few little things placed there make it more welcoming? Wouldn't it? Improve everyone's mental state. In short, paying attention to your life. Wanting to be a positive influence, enjoying it. I like my life. If I like my life, it will be difficult to take it away from me. It will be difficult for someone to replace my life with something else. Because that's exactly what happens with an addiction. You replace your life with something else. With an avatar that's inside the thing, with something. Your life becomes very bland. So you live a fantasy inside a screen and completely abandon your own life. Seek to be present and learn from life. Body and mind together. This is a phrase that isn't mine, it's by Carl Jung. He said, even in his time, that we must keep body and mind together all the time. I would say body, mind, and soul together all the time, in such a way that we are whole in everything we do. We are whole in every place. Remember those old tales that spoke about a wise man? I think I've told you this many times. A wise man who was. Everyone kept wondering how he had become so wise. Everyone asked themselves. And one day they went to ask him, Master, how did you come to have so much wisdom? He said, simple, when impeeling. An orange, impeeling an orange. All my consciousness is on the orange, the peel, and the knife. I'm entirely there. There is nothing outside. In everything I do, ill with my full presence. body, mind, and soul in what I do. And thus, I learn from things and thus I grow. I notice details. Life is entirely educational. I'll learn from life. I see the symbols around me. I grow from these symbols. So, this is an element. If we are present in our lives, if we love, if we consider it interesting, if we seek the symbolism of life. Yesterday, a lecture of mine was released on the internet talking about synchronicity. Seeking the synchronicity of life, the details in every place you go, increasingly this bond with your life, nothing, nor can anyone break it. Sometimes people think, no, but those who are making money, who are developing, it's because they're stuck on the computer all the time. Look, I doubt it. I doubt it. Those who are making money need to be connected to the client's needs, to the human being, what they are, what they need. In the characteristics of the human being, just now I met a group of investment agents. A group of young people working as investment agents. You have to know the client's profile based on their age, the resistances they have, how they think, what inclinations they have, how they are more receptive to the proposals you make. You need to have a very strong understanding of humanity. In other words, just understanding these computers wouldn't do anything. I doubt that those who created the computer itself didn't have to understand human beings. Also, otherwise, it wouldn't have worked. Don't think that those who are succeeding materially do so just because they understand machines. That doesn't exist. The human being is a fundamental factor in everything. So, cultivate moments of peace and serenity. Cultivate moments of being with oneself. Start to appreciate something called inner silence. Create moments in your life where you have a bit of silence. Inner silence. And you can start asking yourself what you think about your life. If you are happy, what your dreams are, if you are moving towards them, how you are managing your time, is it yielding anything, in being fair to myself, fair with my time? Moments of solitude, moments where silence is created and you can hear, as Helena Blavatsky said, the voice of silence. If the silent voice that comes from within you can establish an internal dialogue, an inner life. This is extremely necessary. Most of these vices arise exactly when people are alone and do not want to be alone. They cannot bear it. They are afraid of this encounter with themselves. If we cherish this encounter with ourselves, we will come to find solitary moments. A wonder. A moment to establish this deep dialogue. I love being with myself. You will never addict a person like that, who has this deep heart connection with life. If you don't have one, you can take away one addiction and it will be another. If they don't have it, you cut one vice and they pick up another. But there's no way around it. He is disconnected, detached from life. He needs something to stimulate him because life is not stimulating. He needs something to motivate him because life is not motivating. So, he will always be tracking the latest novelty on the market. He will always be addicted to something. Do not think that technology is to blame. I think in the past there must have been people addicted to smoke signals. It's true, because escaping from life, man has always fled. Always fled. And there must have been a script for him to alienate himself from reality. So, seeking to love life makes us escape from this slavery, from the addictions that are emerging rapidly, which often affect us. Fear, insecurity, and growing anxiety. Just going back to the previous topic, one day I decided on a report. It's a shame I didn't memorize it. I wouldn't tell you how. It was very quick, but some things they said. I found it interesting because they took notes. When can we realize that we are already developing an addiction? For example, when you open your eyes in bed in the morning, the first thing you think about is checking your phone. You are already addicted. Do you ask the person if they are addicted? No, not at all. Observe. The first thing I think about when I open my eyes is, let me check my phone, already addicted. Pay attention to these small things. So, fear, insecurity, and growing anxiety. We know it is very common, everyone is aware of this, that the media creates fears. It keeps inserting fears into people's lives. Then, it sells us remedies that it itself created for the fear it itself created. And it keeps us eternally insecure and anxious. Life is like this all the time. It creates much more dangers and much more violent ones than they really are. It is always putting us in panic, because then, on top of this fragility, it will offer its solutions. And you are vulnerable. So, it is very important that we know how to deal with this excess of fear and also with anxiety. I'm never content with the place where I am. I always desire something that comes later. It comes later. It comes when, I don't know, but I am always anxious for something. Is that something better than this moment? From time to time, stop and look at the moment you are in. There are so many unique things, so many beautiful things. Looking into each of your eyes at this moment is a very beautiful thing. It is a flow. It's not just I'm speaking, you are giving me a lot of indications of what I should say. It is a flow of information that we are exchanging. It is very beautiful for us to be here in the name of something noble, something more elevated. Every moment is unique. Every moment has its specific value. Sometimes I stop and remember the faces of people I was teaching 10 years ago. And I remember that expectation, that look. These are very beautiful moments. From time to time, pause the scene and look at the moment you are living. How beautiful it is, how interesting it is, and how it is unrepeatable in our lives. All of them. So, how do I respond to this fear, insecurity, and anxiety? By not allowing them to feed the fear within me. In other words, it starts a game of TV shows, of media in general, where you notice that they are just making millions of comments about a crime, going back to it 1,000 times, stirring up in you that morbid thought, that circular thought. You reported a crime and that's it. Let's move on. No, they stay there, keep circling around it, reporting on it, challenging. Enough. These people are working to enslave me, to generate fear within me. I won't read any more. I won't read anything more about this subject. Am informed. From here on, it's morbidity. I won't enter this game anymore. It's over. I have already been informed. Now it's just morbidity. So, don't let them feed fear in me. Of course, we'll all do the sensible thing to increase security and stay at peace. Well, not be careless. Our house will be locked in the best way possible. We will have our car with all the locks possible. We will be careful not to go through certain very empty places at night. That is sensible. We will do the sensible thing to maintain our security, but well become neurotic. Because otherwise, this life won't even be worth it. It will be safe and neurotic. We need a safe and fruitful life. Happy, one that gives us fulfillment. Neurotic and anxious. It's a life that isn't worth it, no matter how safe it is. So, be very careful. I do my best and live. I do my best and let life flow. It's always like this. A quote from Helena Blavatsky, which I really like, she says, "Whoever does their best does all that can be expected of them." So, according to a lucid margin of attitudes, do your best and go live. Don't get stuck on these things, nor let anyone bind you to these things. The general morbidity that exists in society. I usually say, and I am increasingly convinced that this is true, that for every news story about a person who committed a crime, there are 10 stories about people doing good things. But this doesn't make it to the media. This is not of interest. This would change people's state of mind tremendously. Sometimes I ask people, do you know there are people doing good things in the world? No, I don't. No, I only know about the corrupt, the murderer, the I don't know what, the I don't know what. There are many people doing good things in the world. Did you know? No, I don't know. I don't know anyone. This is impossible, folks. This is impossible. Stop to think throughout our lives. I am 58 years old. Throughout my life, 95% of the people I knew, or maybe even more, were good people. They might not have been extraordinary people, but family men, people who were living their lives, wanting to support their children, nothing bad. 95% of the people I met in my life, or more. Very harmful people, criminals, but they were very few. If 95% of my life wasn't criminals, how does the media convince me that 100% of the world is criminals? This statistic doesn't add up. Of course it doesn't. So we become terrified and fall into a worldview that is absurd. The media creates a world that is not real, and we become imprisoned in it. Be very careful with this. Be logical. Stop to think that things are not like that. Is the most important moment in life now? The anxious person is always expecting something very good, very extraordinary to happen in the future. Imagine that this thing is happening now. You will see that it is not so good and not so extraordinary after all. It is a very simple thing that if you remain in anticipation of it, you will experience frustration and realize the good and extraordinary things that are actually happening now. It is foolish to always be waiting for the moment that is in the future. The story will always flow, and what is soon the future will soon become the past as well. Life is a continuous line where all points have the same value. Why do I have to keep enjoying what is yet to come and not the current moment? All I have is the present. Do not have expectations that the future will solve my problems. Solve my problems now. Do the best for my problems now. Use imagination, creativity, and do as the young man in the comic book. Either I do my best to solve my problems now, or I never will. Enjoying the present moment is a powerful antidote for the anxious. Not placing expectations and always being absent from the current moment, always waiting for something in the future. When you achieve it, you wait for something else in the future. You are never present in body, mind, and soul in the place where you are. Be careful, because this is a source of imbalances, and often you will see it has already slipped into the pathological. Common, everyday anxiety can slip into the pathological at any moment. Soon, you may have to medicate yourself because you can no longer bear living with anxiety.